Hi, welcome. This video is an overview of this modular construction set that I've made. The modular pieces can be used with different sets to make anything from D&D, tabletop gaming, different architecture pieces. This particular model that I'm using to demonstrate the modular pieces is of course a cute little dollhouse. I was inspired by these pastel colored rolls of PLA sent to me by YX Polyer. So that inspired this dollhouse. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to take this apart and we'll go through it piece by piece. So here's our disassembled dollhouse. The main components are the subfloor, the floor, the columns, and the walls. And the quick overview here is that these columns insert into the parts on the subfloor, and then the walls slide into the tabs. And that's the basic construction. Everything else builds out from that. So let's start with the subfloor. The download includes different dimensions of subfloors from 2x2 all the way up to 8x8. This is a 4x6. And you print it flat on the build plate like that. It doesn't take up a whole lot of material because it's quite thin. The precision of these pieces right here is quite important. It's possible if you've got a little bit of elephant foot or kind of bulging at the bottom there, you might have to take a file to some of these edges here just to make them nice and smooth so that the columns can insert in and be nice and stable. So that's your subfloor. The floors have inserts at the bottom that help secure it on the subfloor like that. The floors are printed like this with the top of the floor on the build plate. I like to use a concentric bottom layer just because it gives a little bit of a nicer texture. As you can see, when you print it out, it prints out fully like this, but you can see here some of the corners have been removed, and I just use a clipper like that. And all that does is it just allows when you're at a corner or something like that, it just allows for the column to set up nice and snug like that. There are also some dual color flooring tiles like this. They print out just a smaller, more colorful grid like that. Again, they've got the little clips to cut at the corners so that it fits nicely with the columns like that. And again, the download comes, this is just a 1x1 tile. The download comes with larger configurations of these tiled pieces as well. The subfloor and the floor are what hold your piece all together and give it stability, and so you can lift it up and move it around without things falling apart. And you can also join up, print and join different subfloors, so you can get quite a large size building, build it out as far as you want. The next piece to talk about is the columns. So this is where you start building up vertically. It's really important that your dimensions are accurate for these columns. So what I recommend is actually printing them in spiralized mode, called spiralized or vase mode on your slicer, and print it up like that, just as it comes in the download. So you do have to be careful that you've got good bed adhesion because it is quite a small little footprint there. But if you get it right, it works just fine. And spiralized print gives you a nice and strong print without any of those little Z seams in it, which gives it a nice smooth surface, because you want a smooth surface because it's got to smooth, it's got to insert nicely into there, into the subfloor, and then you want the walls to be able to slide in and out with a nice, with a nice crisp sound without getting caught up on it. So spiralize print your columns. And this one that I'm showing you right now is a universal column. So you can see there's places for 4 tabs in there. If you want to, you can build your whole piece with just these universal 4-tab columns. The only thing that will happen is that in some places on the inner side, you'll get an open tab here, which you may or may not want for aesthetic reasons. So there's other options here too. This is a 2-tab adjacent column, so that would be used on a corner like so, where you are having walls coming off, but you want the oops, got that upside down, you want the outside to have some nice flat surfaces there. So with these ones that have some flat surfaces, you'll notice again, you'll be printing it in spiralized mode with that side down. You'll notice that one end is closed, the other end actually does have these 4 tabs, and it's that end with the 4 tabs that you will insert into the subfloor, and then the other piece sticks up. So that's a tab with 2 adjacent, or sorry, a column with 2 adjacent tabs. This one right here is a column with 2 opposite tabs. We also have columns, let me find what I'm looking for here. These columns right here have just a single flat surface and 3 tabs like that. So you can print off just the universal ones, or you can go and sort of customize the columns that you're using to give you some nice flat edges if you want. Moving on to the wall pieces. These pieces, just a plain wall, and it prints just standing up like that. You do want to print this in standard mode with a little bit of infill in there. But again, try to make sure that your Z seam is on one of these corners or somewhere else, so that you don't have the little bumpy Z seams creating some friction on this tab here, because you want that as smooth as possible so that it can slide into the columns. The download comes with this is just a single one, a double one, a triple one, all the way up to an 8 unit wall, which would fit along a full side without needing columns in between. So let's do a basic assembly here. I've got the subfloor, the floor. I've cut out the tabs because I already have a sense of what it is that I want to make. So I take a corner column like this with 2 flat edges on the outside, and I insert that there. And this one has 2 opposite flat edges. That goes there. Once I have 2 columns up, I can put in a wall, and that, when the wall slides down, it holds the floor in place as well. And on this side, I'm going to use a 3-tab column because I'm going to build a wall off of that. And this wall slides in like so. Everything holds together. So as you can see with this one right here, I've got 2 options for 2 tabs, so I can build walls out from it like this and one wall that way. And then on this one right here, I've just got options for 1 wall, so I build it out that way. So that's how the basic parts go together, and let's go through and explore some of the other options, the modular options that fit in. Let's start with our doors. So this is the double door right here, and this is the wall piece for a single door. So walls come in options, or sorry, the doors come in options, which is a single door or a double door, and then the download includes pieces. This is 2 segments wide. The download includes pieces that are 3 and 4 segments that you can put the single or double doors in. So the components of the door are the wall piece, the frame, and the door. So the doors download comes oriented like this, so they print up like that with this edge piece on the build plate, and the frame prints on the build plate like so. You can see the frame has the little holes in it, and the door fits in the frame fits in the door, but I definitely recommend doing it in this order, where you put the door in the frame first, because it's quite, once it has to flex a little bit to get in there, and that flexes fine when it's out, but once it's in the wall here, it doesn't flex as well, so it can be a little more tricky. And then once you've got the door in the frame, that all just fits in there. Everything fits fairly snugly, so that you shouldn't have to use glue, but if you want it more permanent, you can add a little bit of glue in there. The narrow part is at the bottom, or the thin part is at the bottom, and the top part is the thicker part is the top of the door, like that. And of course, when you're printing the wall piece like this, it prints standing up as it comes in the download, but you do want to add some supports in there as well. So let's put that together like so, and we'll put it in place right there. Next, let's talk about the windows. So here's a completed window. Let's just take all of that out so that we can start with the basics. So here is the wall with the window hole in it, and this is 2 segments. The download also includes ones that are 3 and 4 segments long. The simplest way to do it, if you want just a very simple window, is to print off this sill like that, and that just inserts like so. You can glue it in if you want a little bit more support. But the nicer window is using that includes the little curtain rod. You print off these pieces that come with the download, and they print flat on the build plate, and they wedge in the sides like that. Nice and tight. Again, you probably shouldn't need glue with this. And then this H piece like that fits in between like that. The little curtain rod clips in on the pieces there. And then these curtains, there's a few different options. There's this type of curtain, which is sort of open, this type of curtain, which is closed, and then there's a full length curtain as well. And these are also ideally printed in spiralized mode, and you'll want to print them like that on this edge as they come oriented, so that everything is nice and smooth as it prints up. And those pieces just clip onto the curtain rod. And you can mix and match them as well. You can put one open and one closed if you like. And then that can go in place there. So now we've got our door and our window. I should also mention with the windows as well that when you look at the wall piece, the cutout for the window is further from one edge than the other, and you can install this either way. So if you want a lower window for sort of a child's room, or just a lower like that, do it that way. If you want it a little bit higher, you would assemble it in that orientation. Moving along the wall, we're going to put a shelving unit, a little inset shelving unit in that corner there. So the shelving pieces also print like so, with some supports in the middle. And the download comes with a whole range of different shelf configurations, from bookshelf type things to different display shelves, and they just click right in there. They can click in any orientation, so you can really customize that as much as you want. And then that wall just slides into place like that. I've gone ahead and completed that wall with another window and some other bookshelves and a longer 3-segment wall. On this side of the room though, we're going to put in another shelving option, and that's these little slat walls like this. So again, the slat wall right here comes in different sizes. This is a 2-unit one. There's larger sizes as well, and they print just as they come downloaded. And they have all of these little pieces like this, little shelves that can fit in like that. There's full-length ones. There's little hooks that can go on like that. There's smaller ones like so. There's a whole bunch of different options, so you can basically get whatever kind of custom shelf that you want. So let's go ahead and put a large one in there, and we'll insert that in the wall there. So I finished off all the outer walls here, and I want to point out, when you're doing the outer walls, you want to make sure that you use all of these long anchor columns so that they fit firmly in the subfloor and hold all the walls together. But in this corner right here, I'm going to build our little closet. So that's going to have a wall that comes out here and a wall that comes out there. And it means I'm going to need a column right there. But I don't really want to go clipping all the little pieces to the floor. So instead of having an anchoring column, I can just use a floating column. And it's the same profile like that, you can see. All that I've done here is I've just printed off an anchor column, and I use clippers to just clip off that bottom part that inserts into the subfloor, and then that piece there will fit into the wall, and the wall fits on like that, and you don't have to do as much trimming. It's not as important structurally, so it works just fine. For the closet in the corner, we're going to use some double doors like this. So that slides in there like that. And the closet piece prints on the build plate like that. You can see there's little spots for hangers and some little shelving in the top. These little coat hangers here, clothes hangers, they all print out just in spiralized mode. They're a really quick print, flat on the build plate like that. you can put them on a little rod that's included, and that just inserts into the little holes in there. And then that whole piece just slides nice and smoothly into there. And then you can see that opens up, and you can see all the little hangers, all the little hangers in there. So that's the main part of our structural pieces, the walls and the little closet and all of the floors. Now let's take a look at some of the furniture add-ons that you can put in. The bed, which is going to go in this area right here, that prints with this one edge on the build plate like that, and prints up so you get nice clean surfaces for the drawers. There's a little bit of overhang in the shelves here, so you get a small little bit of print fill in the bottom there, but the dimensions are so small that you don't really notice it. Here's the mattress and pillow, and that just sits on like that. The drawers for the bed also print flat on the build plate like that, and they just fit in the bottom like that, and that can go right like that. Alright, let's turn it around here and make a little play area. I thought for a dollhouse we would need some little toy bins like this. So the outer shelf area just prints flat on the build plate like that, and these tiny little drawers, which can be a little bit tricky, but they print in spiralized mode just flat on the build plate like that. They've got some little overhangs here where they create the handles like that, and if I can get that in there, and then let's just put that right there under the curtain like that for a little play area. For furniture, we've got lots of options of puffy little couches and things like that. For this particular one, I'm going to put this little chair. Let's just put that under the window there. Take a longer piece like that and make a little play area there, and then close it off with a little corner piece like that. There we go. That's coming together. Let's add some lighting. So this is what there's a couple lighting options. So this is what one option looks like. It's just got these little clips like this, and that clip prints in spiralized mode right on the build plate, as do these little clips like this, and those hanging clips go on like that. And then there's a whole bunch of options for lampshades that I'll show you in a minute. But when you're putting these ones on, and they print on the build plate like this, again spiralized, when you're putting these on, it's easy with the big ones, but the small ones are a little bit trickier. You put the hook in like that, and then you turn it, and the hook stays in place like that, and then that just clips on the wall like so. The other lighting option, if you're going for something a little more extensive, is this grid module here. And of course this particular module can be used for hanging all sorts of other things, but for this dollhouse model, it's used for hanging the lights. These little clips like this print in spiralized mode, again on the build plate, and you clip them on like so, and then that can just clip on to the top like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill this thing with lights. So here's the option if you want to go a little crazy with the lights. This is the grid with a whole bunch of the different light options on there. The download comes with different sizes and different shapes, and they just snap onto the grid, and then the grid goes on like that. If you're using the grid, it's slightly different hooks, these little S hooks like this with a small and a large end. The small end goes into the light like that, and then the large end clips onto the grid like so. So this is one use of the modular construction set. This is the modular dollhouse made with the YX polymer pastel filament that you see in the back here. There's going to be lots of different expansion sets coming, so you can make either different configurations of dollhouses if that's your thing, or lots of other things that you can construct and use in your creative ways. I hope you enjoyed and have fun.